All right. Welcome to the AI Cookbook. I am Jeff.
I'm Nate.
All right, Nate. Did you review the deck? You got some five good ones to talk about this week.
We're gonna have to start jumping to like 20 of these a week, man. There's so much going on.
There is a ton going on. It's pretty crazy. Today we're going to cover the OpenAI breaking from Microsoft and what that means for them. I'd also like to touch on just kind of again what we feel about where OpenAI is going, especially with Story 2, where Anthropic is just crushing it and they're going gangbusters. Then a little bit about Sanford's AI index and what that was measuring. AI reshaping the job market now. I think this is a recurring theme that we keep bringing up within the environment. And then the cloud wars came in and kind of I would call this the war of the picks and X's in this
Yeah. Yeah.
quite a bit, right? So, all right, OpenAI breaks free. So they now are not tied to Azure. They're allowed to put everything in any one of those systems, which landed them on Amazon Bedrock right away, which gives them an entire new market of enterprise to go after. So that you were forced to go elsewhere if you wanted to use GPT in an enterprise. Now you can use whatever you want, which will open up an entirely new market to them. Is this too little, too late? What do you think?
I would say that normally, but I think all of a sudden even these huge established players are realizing there's no walled gardens, right? Everybody,
Yeah.
you take what we do at a microcosm of we just jump between tools and have no loyalty. It's whatever's going to serve me best today, and then vibe code stuff that's missing. I think these huge companies and their investors are realizing, wow, this is the new world, like at least for the time being. So what I'm really curious about with this is, does this have a measurable impact on their revenue? Do they jump? Did we see what we saw out of Anthropic in any way, shape, or
Yeah.
form?
I think, we'll see, but I think you're right. I mean, this does open the gate for people to go forward and start to use whatever they want. And the models keep hopping each other
Yeah.
quite a bit. This last release from OpenAI was really good, but I don't think it was good because I don't think it's better than Mythos, which was held back, right? So I
Yep.
wonder if I don't know. I wonder if they can make a dent in Anthropic's momentum is the big thing, which let's talk about that next.
Yep.
Anthropic hit a $30 billion run rate. What I think is amazing about this is if you look at that top line, they were a billion at the end of 2024. By April of 2026, they're now at a 30 billion annual run rate.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, with a B, so they added in 4 months of 2026, they added $29 billion in annual revenue. And I'm on a bunch of AI kind of meetings during the week just to keep up with this stuff. And every single one of us have shut down our GPT license
Yep.
and started
Yep.
almost everybody I talked to is using Claude and using Claude to the max, like $100, $200 licenses and overcoming those things. So I
Yep.
see, I feel this and I see it every day. What do you think? I mean, are these guys going to be the clear winner?
I feel like it, but again, I'm a full fan, and like all the agents that I'm building, everything I'm doing is it's inside Anthropic, right? And um, even when people like, they're going to start charging for actual usage at some point, they have to. I'm like, what am I going to do? Like my whole new model and career is based on this. So if they
Yeah,
charge me $500 a month, I'm going to pay $500 a month to make the money, that I need to make. So I think the revenue is just going to explode. It's just going to keep on
yeah,
shocking everybody. And my favorite part about this that I was reading, a few posts on this topic over the past few weeks, and I think people are right, is VCs are going to start jumping after, let's build new frontier models with, vertical specific frontier models. Like, look how
Mhm.
well Anthropic's doing. What if we
Yeah.
built a model that was just in this vertical and we own that frontier, even if it was only a $10 billion model? Well, you can do that
10
in
billion is
12
a lot of
months.
money. I could live off that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. That's a really interesting point. I think here's the other thing that I think is very interesting. Um, There are three major IPOs coming out this year. You've got Anthropic, you've got SpaceX, and you got OpenAI, all talking IPO. There's not enough money in the market to service all three.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one of these is going to be a loser.
Yep.
And if, I mean, you look at these numbers, it keeps pointing back to OpenAI being the loser in this game,
Yeah.
right?
Again,
Like,
no investment advice, but somebody asked me what advice I'd give to my 25-year-old self. And I was like, well, I thought that Google was ridiculous at $400 a share when it came out. I thought Bitcoin was ridiculous at $5,000 a coin. I'm like, I'm not going to make the same mistake again with the one I'm a fan of here.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I've already set aside some money to go to Anthropic's IPO, to be honest. Not investment advice. That's
Yeah,
just my
exactly. Not investment
personal
advice,
thing.
personal
Yeah.
opinion.
All right. So Stanford's launched their AI index, which, capabilities are historic. The transparency has collapsed. Here's my biggest take on this. This doesn't happen fast enough for it to make any meaning. Like the changes are coming so fast. Like this, by the time the report came out, it was already obsolete,
Yeah,
right? Um, that said, I think what this indicates is two things. One, the massive improvement in capabilities over the last year has been incredible, but we don't know exactly what's in these models because they're now coding themselves.
yeah.
Those are the two things I took away from this.
That's exactly that last point is the one that really that's where I start getting the whole the Terminator vibes like well what's coming right they're not disclosing do they even know right how this stuff is
Yeah.
working.
Yeah, we'll see. I still hope for the Star Trek future. Um,
Yep, absolutely.
the other thing, what becomes super clear here is that government just can't keep up to regulate this. They just move too
Absolutely. Yeah.
slow. They
Yeah.
can't figure this out. I don't know how we solve that problem, but I don't know. I'd love to see some way to get ahead of this and kind of make sure that we're doing the right things that advance the economy and our businesses and also protect people. But
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it, honestly. Um, which I guess leads us to this next one pretty well. It's a good transition. We talk about this all the time, but will disrupt your job. And it doesn't matter
Yeah.
who you are over the next 3, 5 years. I mean, even, over the next year from now forward, white collars are going to get really crushed. But when physical AI comes on, it's going to start coming after other jobs too,
Yeah.
right? And so, what do you, here's what I'd like to talk about this because we've mentioned this a lot, right? Where we
Yeah.
said AI is coming and it's likely going to disrupt a lot of jobs out there. And if you're in corporate, you're probably not going to do well. You got to be an entrepreneur. But
Yep.
not everybody can be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Or what do you think about that? Like, what's your take on that?
Yeah, so my latest take on that is actually walking people through. I don't know if you remember way back when there was that book, What Color is Your Parachute, right? It helped
Yeah,
like a couple generations figure out how to get started in their careers. And I should probably go look that book up again and even review what it had in it. But
yeah,
people, I have a good friend who was just laid off from one of the big players, and not because he wasn't great at what he did, it was because they needed to free up the cash flow
yeah,
to fight the AI race, right? So there's people that just have sworn, like, well, I get it, I understand it, I believe it, I know all these people are gonna lose their jobs, but I'm safe. It's like nobody's safe. And so to me, it's setting everybody back to you got to figure out what the heck you want to do with your life. You got to
yeah,
figure out what you're singularly awesome at. And usually that's interviewing all of your friends and saying, I know you've had a career in sales or marketing or whatever, but you're actually good at this. And then you got to use AI as a wonderful starter project or mid-range educational project to help you figure out what your path is
yeah,
and get really good at that. And then that will start that whole process will start to tell you, you got to move in this direction. Here's how you do it. Here's the first step you need to take. In some cases, it's going to be people starting all over again from
yeah.
scratch. And back to your question of like doing it in an entrepreneurial fashion, that's it. You don't have a choice. I mean, it's
Yeah, you
you've
really
got to at
don't.
least be entrepreneurial about yourself going out and finding a job at a minimum. If you don't want to actually go and build a business, on your own.
That's a really good point. I think, well, and I think two things, like the concept of being an entrepreneur has completely changed from where it was, right? It's not necessarily about running a business as much as it's about agency for yourself
Yeah,
and being able to find agency away from like corporate America or whatever.
yeah,
You can make
yeah,
money easier and cheaper on pursuing your passion now than you ever could before.
yeah.
So my advice is try and figure out your agency and try and build something that you can live off of. That's outside of you relying on a corporation to make it happen.
Exactly. And the thing that I'm really starting to dig into for myself as well, like it never really occurred to me, but I'm seeing some people who are building portfolios of
Yeah,
themselves, right?
yeah,
So I can make 50% of where I need to be doing this thing that I've always done in a different way, but also I can have these side gigs because I only need a couple hours a week and AI takes care of the rest for me, right? And so they're kind of
yeah.
building these income portfolios still based on themselves. So that I think that's going to be a huge trend, and I'm really excited to dig into that.
I know, I always say when I tell people what I'm up to, I feel like I'm so displaced and I'm into everything. But at the
Right.
same token, it's not like I'm crushing myself on hours. Like I can do it all.
Yeah, and,
Um,
and if you're in the AI bubble, then people accept that. It's really interesting. I do the same thing. I'm like, so here's one thing we do, here's the next thing we do, here's the other thing we do, and we're just starting this. And previously, everybody would just, and so a lot of people say, you got to just focus on one thing and be awesome at
yeah,
it. If you're in the AI bubble, people like, awesome, cool, because
yeah,
they get it.
that's true.
You can
That's
actually run
cool.
5 businesses.
That's pretty wild. Yeah. And this one, it's interesting, but it's not huge. I think we'd all know this is going on. Like we needed the processing power. We needed it to go this. So Amazon and all the other players, AWS, Anthropic, and all of that are really um, bifurcating into getting compute where it can get compute, right?
Yeah,
And really, this is the argument of it's not just investing in the gold in AI, it's investing in the picks and axes that support it all
yeah,
and
yeah,
finding those other places where things that'll grow as part of this. It's going to be a huge economy. It really is across
absolutely.
the board, from energy to data centers to I like wherever this is. There's a lot of supporting places where you can go with your money. Again, not investment advice,
Yep.
but I mean, this is a huge opportunity from a business standpoint. And open your eyes to it and jump in if you can. All right,
Absolutely.
that's the
Absolutely.
start. So, I think the big takeaways that I got from this week is there is no cloud exclusivity anymore. We're going to get
Yeah.
compute where we can get compute. Anthropic is freaking an amazing business. And man, their models are so good. Like what we're doing with it right now is just incredible. And I mean, I love my agents. I love what I'm doing with it. It's so good. And unfortunately, we're at a world where AI is moving faster than our ability to regulate it, and that
Yeah.
could be a problem. But I think the more of us working in it, the more that we're trying to figure it out, we can you self-regulate and bring the safeguards that need to come there. And if if it's not evident, go find your agency.
Yeah. Love that. Love that phrase. I'm going to be saying that to a number of people who are coming to us and asking what they do next.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That sounds good. All right. Well, thanks for listening. We will talk soon. And take care.
All right. Thanks.